What's up, guys? Matt here, coming at you with the new FCX24 Mercedes-Benz Unimog. So this is licensed now, whereas the previous one wasn't licensed. This is on the FCX24 platform now, and it's considered 124th, even though it's nowhere near it in my opinion. Now, I mean, this thing is just huge. So maybe because this truck is bigger, you could say it is 124th, but I don't know. This is an FCX24 more basic build. Pretty big difference there. So for me, I'm considering this 1/18th scale. It's a little closer to something like this, but I guess they're calling it 124th because it has the shorter wheelbase, which means it's definitely going to flip a lot more. You can see this has been ran, and Liam ran it, and he was like, it performs terrible. And I was like, well, you know, it's really supposed to be more of a scale trail truck and look good and not be as much about performance. But that's kind of part of the problem with it for me, is like this body just kind of seems really plain. I don't know. It just looks like, you can see the seats in here, they're just like a gray block. Like, I just feel like I'm used to so much more detail from FMS that I really had built this up to be more than what it was, I guess. Now, this gray would be a great place to start for anybody who can paint really well. You know, none of this stuff is painted, so you could paint all these hinges in. You could put a little detail in like these vents and the grill and stuff. But I kind of thought it would have a little more. I think really the seats just are really what bothers me. But it can always be dealt with. Underneath this is the FCX24. Like I said, we've got the portals, which have metal gears in the portals, plastic gears in the diffs, front and rear, and then plastic gears in the transmission. We've got oil shocks now. All of these look a little bit wet, like maybe they've leaked. So we'll have to see if they still have oil in them, but it's definitely not just bobbly like we used to always get with most of these trucks. So I'm really glad to see all these companies starting to put oil shocks on these trucks out of the box. It's much better than, like I said, what we used to always get. So that's an improvement. We do got nice mirrors and some light buckets here, some lights up here, lights here. Let's power this thing up, see what it looks like with the lights on. All of this does like fold down. So you can fold these down and have just a flatbed, which is really cool. I wish these boards ran this way. It's just me being picky, but they look weird running across. I don't know why. But if somebody's good at painting, this is a great truck to start with, because it's just very plain gray. You know, I feel like RC is going to have some really good offerings on paint schemes for these things. So let's power it up and see how she runs. So out of the box, you're going to be in forward, brake, reverse, forward, brake, reverse. So we want to change that. You're going to double tap the REV button. This light will start flashing. You're going to hit the bind button. It's probably still going to be forward, brake, reverse. Seems like you have to hit it. You used to just hit this once. I don't know if they've added different brake functions or what. I'll have to check that, but just hit it until it finally gives you forward and reverse. That's what we want. It's all we need. Wish it was the only option. But anyways, then double tap your REV button. That should stop flashing and you're set. Now, out of the box, ours was set in the center here and it was in neutral. It's not going in, there it is. So Liam thought it was broke straight away. He's like, this thing don't even work. So this may be in the center. This way is high, this way is low. So you do have the nice working 2-speed transmission in there, which is one of the best things about these FCXs. We've got this same transmitter we've been getting for a while now. I do like that it has the foam wheel. I still want the dip switches. We're never getting those back apparently, but this works fine if you know how to navigate the menu at least. But besides that, we're pretty well set to go. There are a few mods that normally we always make. we usually move these screws here to the back side. You'll get just a little bit more steering, because you can see right there that steering link hits that screw. So on a truck like this that's big and massive already, that is something that I'm just gonna go ahead and do, because we need all the steering we can get out of this thing. So I'll switch these over and then we'll go run this thing. So now you'll see here, we're not hitting that screw now, we're getting just a little bit more turn out of that. And you can actually trim that axle, shave it, and shave the steering link if you're trying to get extreme angles. But if you notice going this way, we hit that screw. So we gained that couple millimeters probably on turning angle. So you can tell we're really cutting to the left versus the right. Big difference. Simple, free mod. So you'll see, this is one of those scale trucks I really enjoyed driving. You know, you can see there, it does not go downhill well at all, but it surprised me how it goes uphill. I guess because of all the weight in the front. You know, this cab and everything is in the front, even though it sits really high with this body. You know, I mean, it's just the way this truck is built. So there's a lot of weight up high. It's very tall, but it actually climbs uphill really good. This is going to be one of those trucks straight out of the box that you're going to want to throw weight to the rear right away. Just because every time I tried to go downhill on anything, it was just end over end. But it ran really well. You know, it has the FCX electronics underneath it, so it obviously slow crawls really well. It's got the wheel speed in high. The steering servo did okay. It's kind of pushing its limits, I think, with the weight of this cab and stuff. It just sometimes I noticed it was struggling a little bit here, especially right in there where the left was kind of binding against the rock. It almost didn't want to turn the truck. And then I just couldn't get this truck to go across this bridge. It's just a little too big. So that's why I kind of wanted to run it indoors, partially because it's like 30 degrees outside. So my outdoor running was very limited. I apologize, guys. It's just too cold. I've been a little bit sick. It's freezing nasty cold out. It's been rainy, horrible here. So I was trying to run this on the indoor course, and it did fit pretty well overall, even though, you know, my course is designed for a little smaller truck. I could still have fun with it. I still enjoyed it. Obviously, like I said, a little weight in the rear would have helped it go down a few things, but you can see most of this stuff, it goes up and over pretty well. You know, there's a lot of scale stuff going on here. The tanks on the side and stuff that you're dragging and hanging on stuff. But overall, I enjoyed crawling it and really got into the looks of it more as I was driving it. It's definitely one of those that you could go and put a really cool paint job on, and you're going to love driving it. Maybe some better wheels and tires, although I kind of like the style of these wheels and tires on a truck like this, and they do well enough for what this truck's going to do. I never really felt like it was limited because of traction too much. There was one spot outdoors where I thought for a second I wasn't going to get a climb, but it ended up getting it, and it was a pretty impressive climb, so we'll talk about that when it gets to it. But most things, you just kind of got to find the right line, and that's part of scale driving, you know, to me, is you can't just go out and plow through stuff, and that makes my course even more fun. And you can see there the lights are on the bind button, so you just tap the bind button, they come on. So that's very nice, having those lights you can just pop on. It'd be cool to put some lights in the top as well. And these are the only lights that it has on it. And when I seen all of the light buckets on it and the tail light buckets and everything, I was excited. I thought we had lights in all of those. You could always add that later, I guess, but it just has the headlights out of the box. It would have been nice to have a few more lights, a few more little touches to this, but I do like what they've done with taking these past releases and putting them on the FCX platform, because we've got a lot of upgrades and stuff that's become available for those trucks, and we just didn't have that support for the initial releases of most of these trucks. Now here you'll see the issue with the larger truck on a course that's built for smaller trucks. I just couldn't make it. I was like, oh man, I had to turn around and just go the other way, because with the light buckets there, it was just too tall. Can't make it. No. But all in all, I had fun driving this on the indoor course, even though this course is really not built for this style or size of truck. It did a lot of things that I really didn't think it would do. I was a little bit surprised with it. When Liam was running it, had some friends over and was talking to them, about other things, and wasn't really watching him run it. And he kind of ran it for a few minutes on the course here, and he come back. And of course, he's just all about performance. Like, he come back and he was just kind of disgusted with it. So I really just thought it wouldn't do anything. But I found that it did pretty well, to be honest. Like I said, it needs the weight in the rear, but the base of this truck is really good. And that's the best thing about them putting all of these releases on the FCX platform. We know the electronics are good. We get a good slow crawl and everything out of it. The servo's decent. Like, it gets it done in this truck, but it's kind of pushing the limits of what it can do. But overall, it didn't go out, and it worked through my runs, but it could stand to have a little more power. But overall, having the 2-speed makes this truck so much more fun. The portals gives you a little clearance. So I mean, it made it through some rough stuff. This is much rougher than what I would normally probably put this truck through right here, but it's kind of all I had. It was freezing cold outside. I was limited. I ran for a few minutes on my outdoor course and was freezing. Had to bail and go back in. So, I worked with what I had here. Just kind of wanted to show you guys this thing running. I think we are all pretty familiar with the FCX platform at this point. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, then you don't. But it's hard to argue that more options is a bad thing. Like, to me, every new release for these 24s or 18s, whatever they are, is positive, because somebody does something that's a little bit different, a little bit better, and it's just pushing these things. I recently just picked up I've been going through a lot of my collection, and like I've sold out of a few things, and just trying to clear some things up. And I picked up one of my oldest FCX24 builds that's just been sitting. It hasn't been ran in probably 2 years almost. And just turning the steering on the front axle on that thing, it was like, oh my gosh, that's what we used to drive. Like, they barely turned at all compared to what we have now. We have axles that are just insane amounts of turning radius and everything. So seeing how far these things have come is just pretty amazing. And so every little release just pushes us a little bit farther, and we're getting better and better. And a truck like this, it brings the scale side of it along with the rest of the performance and everything. So I think this is a good release. I hope they do all of their trucks. We've kind of seen the old K10 teased a little bit. And so I feel like that one's going to be coming soon. I honestly haven't heard anything about it. But to be 100% honest, their releases lately have just been all over the place. Like, you'll get an email like, hope you got your video ready for the release tomorrow. And I don't even get this thing for a week later. It's like, I don't know what's going on. But it is what it is. If they send me one, that's cool. If they don't, I'll buy it and I'll review it then. But it's just like, I wish somebody would get their stuff together at FMS. But they're at least doing well with the trucks and giving us more and more options all the time. So I think this is a pretty cool offering. You guys let me know what you think about it. I'll link it in the description. If you use the links, it does help out the channel. I will use affiliate links for those links. So that just helps me be able to purchase lots of things. All of the things I show, I use anything that comes to this channel from you guys watching or using those links. I'll put it right back into it. So I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate you sticking around. If you've watched this long, this thing, you'll see it does not go downhill well. But it surprised me with some of the uphill stuff it did. So I'm really thrilled with a new offering and maybe a couple little upgrades to it. And maybe I'll try my hand at some like patina effects on this thing, because I did get a little kit in for doing some weathering and that sort of thing. So maybe I'll work on my paint skills a bit. I don't know. Got to find something to do in this nasty freezing weather. So I appreciate you guys sticking around. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell. Peace.